June 19th, 2022, inside this rectangular pattern. On the news, they had the other day this thing about this young man who was, or at least that's what they call him around here, who was recruited by something called the U.S. Marines. And he has a t-shirt on which says pain is weakness. I can't read the bottom of it, but yesterday I was walking on Bell Boulevard at night, like this, with glasses on, because of constriction and constraints with eye, whatever, in ocular whatever, acknowledgement. And I'm walking down Bell Boulevard, and there's some kind of like techno music, like electronica, coming out of a Hummer that looks like camouflage, this pattern, with a red Marines flag, which I used to have hanging over my son Anthony's crib, with an olive green background. He shared a room with Alexander and Daniel, in Patchogue, no less. And so, and they had the same flag that I just showed, and then this red Marine flag, which I don't know where it went again. Everything got shuffled and thrown out on the street, like as if my life never mattered. Before I got thrown back into Bayside. So here we are. So on this pain is weakness in black and white on the back of this guy's shirt, where my son went to high school, and my kids went. I was telling Lynn this morning, I'm like, Patchogue was so amazing. I wish we were still there for Anthony. I wish Anthony could have gone to school from kindergarten or pre-K all the way up through, because they had a summer camp, like a summer enrichment, summer camp program with the school. Like, the kids really got to know one another. My kids had such nice things to say about camp and about the schools. I mean, it was, and the neighborhood was nice. I had an office space, or I had a desk in an office in the village. I mean, you want to talk about growing up awesome? My kids weren't rich by any stretch, because, I mean, I was trying to keep them in the house afloat per month and keep crazy to a minimum, but putting them in enrichment programs while I tended to the shit I was dealt with, I mean, it was amazing for them. My poor youngest son, I call him Cat Scratch, because he got the shit end of the stick on whatever, coming into this universe. But anyway, going back to the Marines and this pain is weakness. This goes back to, like, yeah, well, if you see people walking around in pain and hooked on painkillers, that's the integrity of the system. And I don't mean in like a monetary, I mean, that has something to do with it. That's a layer. That's not the layer. I'm talking about, like, I'm Rh negative. So right now, my personal story is in my abdomen, which was referenced in one of the movies that Hollywood put together for AI. I think is how they referenced it. They have an AI that's all robotic from head to bust, and then the abdomen is something else, and then it goes into the leg region. In the gastrointestinal area right now, I have the left side is distended, and the right side is on an invert. So it when I look at my belly button is no longer like where my ring is, it's now turned like that, which it means that there's some integritous problem. When people are walking around with canes and can't stand up and hold their posture, there's something wrong with the integrity of the system, meaning the weather and the atmosphere and the climate. Granted, when there's pills involved and medical and insurance policies, and so people get confused in the money portion, but that's not what I'm talking about. I went from in Ronkonkoma being probably the most physically fit I had been in a long time, and obtaining that level of fitness, which I just wanted to continue. I never wanted to break in. But then I had Anthony, and he had two knots in his umbilical cord, and my body just gave up. And then now, standing and having this distension on one side and like the connective tissue being, I mean, the integrity of the weather and atmosphere in the stereo system just outside in a kinesthetic heliosphere, with, if I'm the ace point in this classification system, and heliosphere is another orbit around my person in a neutrino kind of a way, that integrity between the ace and the heliosphere and its orbital whatever is being impacted by something that I don't have words for. I can feel the pull of the top of the rectus abdominis into a diastasis position, where the connective tissue between the abdomen starts to pull, and whatever's interior in the intestinal gastro area is starting to push on the exterior wall. But closing the abdominal is not as easy as just sit-ups at this particular stage after having my son. After already having a corset correction, an internal abdominal corset correction with surgery that I had paid for out of pocket when I had the money. And then I was able to pull myself upright, I was able to walk different, I was able to work out different. Now it's getting worse. But it's like, there's this like interpretation part of the humans, like where pain is weakness. Yeah, I got that. I don't like being in pain. I don't like being at effect. I don't like being pigeonholed. I don't like this crony and lackey whatever. But I don't really have much of a choice at this point because of the way that everything's been painted into this section. It's absolutely disgusting. So the integrity of just holding yourself up right now, interestingly enough, here, this is the end of this. This is what the uniform looks like. And then this is what pain is weakness. And that's who's wearing it. So, today is this new Juneteenth thing that came out of nowhere. And it's also Father's Day. And Lou got a new tenant. She's actually French. And she ordered furniture from IKEA. And they actually are delivering. Not only is it odd because it's a Sunday, but also because it's Father's Day, a holiday, and then you've got this federal holiday of Juneteenth, whatever. But they still delivered her furniture, which I thought was amazing. I'm like, wow, like, now that's whatever. So I thought that was an interesting whatever, and whatever. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.